Hello everyone, welcome back. Today on the kitchen table is another one of those videos that I'll have to just put a health warning on the front of that. It's probably only going to be of interest to UK viewers because I'm going to be talking about the law and the legislation as it stands in the UK. So if that doesn't interest you or doesn't apply to you, then if you want to look over here, there's probably some interesting other videos that might keep you amused. So, for all the Brits out there, the topic of this video was suggested by a viewer. So, thank you very much for your suggestions for things to discuss. And it's not just one either. I've had this come up in comments and on forum chats and PMs and emails and stuff. And it's basically people wanting to know what they can and can't do with their aircraft and camera to make money. Legally, to make money out of their system in the UK. So this is just going to be a brief overview of my understanding of the system at the moment. You need to do your own your own research and get your own advice before you follow blindly what I say, just in case I've got it wrong. I'm fairly certain I haven't, but I'm not legally certain I haven't, if you know what I mean. So go and check it out. But this is my understanding of how it relates. So the bottom line is, as it stands, the Air Navigation Order, which is the bit of legal legislation in the UK governing anything from this to 747s up there, says that for this type of aircraft, there's a blanket ban on doing anything to make money. The term that they use is valuable consideration. So if anybody gives you anything that's of value for doing something in exchange for doing something with your aircraft, that's illegal. However, you can apply to the CAA, the Civil Aviation Authority, for a permission to undertake aerial work. And if they're happy with you and your competence and your operations manual and all the other bits and pieces, then they can issue you for a fee. They can issue you with a permission, which is, I think, needs to be validated every 12 months. Permission to go and earn money out of something like this. Anything that is basically an unmanned aerial vehicle with a camera slapped on it. Phantoms on up to the 4 Octos carrying cinema grade kit underneath them. But of course, it's not just as straightforward as it is writing off. So what the CAA says is they will issue a permit providing you send them the fee and that you prove to them that you have a certain minimum level of competence. And how do you do that? Well, there are 2 qualifications that you can get, either of which the CAA will take because it has basically licensed the bodies that are doing these. It will take either of those as evidence of competence, and therefore, providing you've passed the course and ticked all the boxes and send the CAA their fee, they will issue you with a permission to do aerial work. And those 2 qualifications are the BNUC S and the RPQ small. Yeah, more abbreviations to go. So let's basically, they're both similar in that they are paid for courses run by private organisations authorised by the CAA, who will take you through all the ground school exams and practical flight tests and aircraft assessments that mean that when you get the piece of paper, the CAA is confident that if you've impressed them enough, then you've jumped through enough hoops and send them your money and you can have a permission. So let's have a look. The first one we'll look at is the RPQS, the Remote Pilot Qualification Small. This is offered by an outfit called the Resource Group. The website, I'll put links to the websites and various things below, but here's where they live. This is their website here, and the course content. So as you can see, there's a distance learning module to get you up to speed, a ground school with exams, and a flight assessments. And they run courses throughout the year. And so you will end up with an RPQ small certificate, which you can then use to prove to the CAA that you're, sensible enough. The other certification system is the BNUC, which is the Basic National UAS Certificate -S for small, for the kind of level of aircraft that we're flying here, the size and weight. This is run by an outfit called Euro USC, and this one's been around for a bit longer. And they have courses around the UK and also in Europe and elsewhere. Major centres like Manchester, Bristol, Leeds, to Western Aerodrome. I used to fly into that one. I used to have a microlight. Anyway, that was a bit of an aside, wasn't it? And that's a very similar setup. Again, you've got, on the website, you've got the candidate guides, and all of their courses consist of some ground theory and a ground theory exam, a flight operation assessment, and both of them will require you to produce and have approved a flight operations manual. Effectively, the CAA wants you to operate like a professional aviation organisation, and you will have a procedures manual, operations manual, and you must stick to it. So both of these outfits will basically do you a ground school on things like meteorology, airspace restrictions, safety. You can imagine the range of things that they would want you to be competent in. You will then have to do a flight test as well, which will show you operating a sort of kind of a dummy sortie, which will probably go over there and film that tree, and then they might throw in a hazard or two, like, oh look, some person has suddenly walked into the roped off area. What do? You will have to demonstrate any fail-safe on your system, and then you will have your operations manual assessed for suitability and appropriateness and everything else. You will have to conduct your flight test to your operations manual as well. Now, there's no blueprint for that. That's kind of a bit of your own work. So that's a little bit... a lot of people are holding on to their operations manual as a sort of a bit of top secret document, because I suspect if you copied one that's gone through, it'd be worth some moolah. But it means that you're in competition with the other guys. So that, once you've done all that, what you then need to do is take your lovely certificate and apply to the CAA, who will want some money and will want to see also evidence that you've got insurance in place. They will give you a permission for aerial work, and that will be limited. You actually are having to stick to stricter limitations on the aerial work. You will be limited on the permission for aerial work to 400 feet, no higher. You will be limited to, I think it's 1,500 feet horizontal, or it might be 500 meters. Anyway, from where you're standing, that's a hard limit. You could move, you can walk along with it, but you have to keep, and it has to be completely line of sight at all times. No even remote sniff of an FPV situation, which is why the bigger rigs will have two operators. One to keep their eyes on the aircraft and fly it, the other one to look at the screen and do the camera work. I think as long as you're not using fully immersive goggles, I think you'll be okay. So that's how you get it. Price. Well, it's not going to be cheap. You're looking at, well, here's the price. Here's the price list, which is the latest price list from the Euro USC. Too many abbreviations, not enough coffee. And you'll see the fees. So the ground course and theory exam is £700. Let's not go down resits. Let's assume that you've haven't failed. The assessment of your operational assessment and your flight operations examination for one aircraft, one pilot is 350 quid. Your annual assessment and renewal will be 75 quid. So just to send in your logbook and make sure that you've got enough hours, it's 75 quid. And if you want to add an additional aircraft to your fleet to have a bit of flexibility, then that'll be another 250 quid. Incidentally, if you are flying a very light one under 7 kilos, then you don't have to worry about the design and construction assessment, the airworthiness assurance, as far as I'm aware. That's only for over 7 kilos, I believe. For the RPQ S course, the current price list is an all-in £1,300. No hidden costs, it says. They also do a qualified entity recommendation and customer assistance CAA application process, 200 quid. I believe that's basically they fill out all the forms and get everything tidy and send it all off for you so that you don't have to do an extra bit. Might be worth 200 quid if you want to get up and running. So basically for them, 1,500 quid, hand them 1,500 quid and pass the exams and they will get you a permission to work out the other end, I assume. They charge 125 for the renewal for a commission. So, pays your money, takes your choice. Obviously, they'll all have different different people will have done both and have a look and do some research to recommend it. I can't even talk about that. But that gives you an idea of some of the costs. You will have ongoing costs like your insurance. So basically, you know, whatever you want to do, you need to have in mind that you're going to have to maintain your aircraft to a higher standard than you currently do. Your operations manual should probably list either certain checks that you're going to do after every X number of hours flight, or perhaps even you're going to replace parts completely, whether they're worn out or not, after X number of flights or after X amount of time. All those sorts of things. There is a, you know, you need to have a, the CAA will want to see that your operations manual has considered that what you're doing has potential, has potential risks, and that sort of thing. So basically, there's the information. There's very basic information for you, but those are the hoops and the prices. The hoops you have to jump through, and the prices you'll have to pay if you want to make your aircraft earn its way on that sort of thing. I hope that was interesting. I hope it was useful. As I said, errors and omissions accepted. You know, things can do change, so please make sure before you take what I've said for granted and that it's all 100% accurate. Do your own research. Have a look at the two websites that I'll put the links to down there for the two organisations that currently are authorised to offer the training and the certification, and see if you think it's, you know, a new career for you and your quadcopter. You could always just do it at weekends or whatever, but might be interesting to have a go. So thanks very much for watching. More nonsense soon back on the kitchen table.